Hello, hello. Alrighty, the main man himself has joined us in the program. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest this evening, the main man himself has joined us on the program. Again, without further ado, please welcome our very special guest, worldwide renowned professional wrestling trainer, the owner and the founder of Collar and Elbow brand, uh, current owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling OVW, the one, the only, the legendary Al Snow. Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I am doing great, doing awesome, sir. I'm honored to have you here, and man, just like everyone we encountered during the pandemic, may we know, good sir, how are you?
Doing very well. You know, trying to make it through the pandemic just like everybody else is. And right now, with OVW kind of shut down, restricted because of the pandemic, we're trying to be really creative and trying to still come up with ideas for TV and still produce TV every single week. We just don't do it live. We just do compilation shows right now. But luckily, we have a very, very extensive library of episodes, and we have a lot of great talent that have performed over the years, and we're able to, you know, still come up with some entertaining shows. So,
That's awesome to hear, sir. And like, if people will be wondering, like, where could they find this kind of content of the OVW content during this pandemic?
well, where they can is several places. What we broadcast regionally here in the United States in Kentucky on WBNA Channel 21 every Tuesday, and then again it's replayed on Saturday. We also have our OVW Overdrive television show, which airs on Saturday mornings on WBNA. But we air nationally on the YTA network, which is in about 44 million homes across the country. And then now we have just gotten a Roku channel where we are now in, I think, 17 different countries. As of Friday, we were in Japan, China, and Israel. And we're going to continue to expand, and hopefully here soon we'll get into the Philippines as well, where you'll
Yes,
have
please.
access
Yes,
there.
please. We're looking forward to that, sir. But like, besides the wrestling content that you have luckily compiled throughout the years, and you've been planning right now, is there anything like a web series related that OVW is planning to produce anytime soon?
Yeah, we're looking to do so. We also have our own streaming channel. If you go to ovwwrestling.com, you can subscribe and you can get all of the television shows and the bigger, larger shows that we do on a monthly basis. You can get all that content as well. And we're looking to put up wrestling related content that's not wrestling centric, meaning it's not just all in the ring, but we're looking to do like a series like Tough Enough, since we still run a school, and we're looking to have some of the wrestlers pursue some of their hobbies. A couple of expressed interest in doing like a hunting show or a fishing show, or different things like that. So we're gonna have them do those things.
Awesome, awesome. We're all looking forward to that. So everyone tuning in, smash that heart button and make sure you check out OVW's website and all the streaming channels OVW is available at as soon as the live is over. Awesome, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Let's, if we can, let's shift gears a bit and let's go to one question that we have for you. But before I do that, actually, sir, let me just say belated 4th of July. I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July yesterday. Some great
Uh,
barbecues and maybe some
yeah,
beers.
that's right. Made a great meal.
Awesome. On the year, sir. Alrighty. Okay. Freaking laptop. There you go. So I've always wondered, sir, what was your reaction when you found out Head was a playable character in WWF, not E at the time, Attitude Era, the PS1 game back in the 90s?
Yeah, I was a little surprised and a little jealous that they were made a playable character, you know. But that's okay. Now, they deserve it. They work hard and they earned their spot. So, they paid their dues. They get to be a character. That's fine. they ride in the bag wherever we go. Granted, all they do is they complain and they bitch and moan about doing it, but they act like if they ride in the overhead bin that they're not going to be able to breathe. And I'm like, hey, if you couldn't breathe, I couldn't hear you complaining. But so clearly you can breathe just fine up there. I'm not paying for a seat for you because seatbelt's not going to go around you anyway. So
And that's extra expense as well.
yes.
But I'm sure, like the talent fee, if you will, for a lack of a better term, was of head was all the credit was to you, right? Or it has to be a separate bill because of head.
Well, we work around that. So
Okay, that's
yeah.
awesome here. And
It's
speaking
not
of,
it's not
sorry,
their money, it's not my money, it's our money. So
a union. That's good stuff. It's always a teamwork, never
always.
fails.
Never.
Alrighty, sir. I've always wondered though, as well, like what was the nationality of head?
I'm not sure. Head had so many personalities within them that was why I always just called them Head, because it was such an aggravation that if I were to try to name one or more, where do you stop? And then you never know which one's going to come to the surface. So you just call them Head, be done with it. That's it.
No attachments, no strings attached.
And
That's good. That's all right. Thank you for that answer, sir. Let's shift gears to some fan questions. Oh man, is there like what a lot?
sure.
Oh, there's one from at Mr. Parmy. Will OVW going backtrack a bit? Will
Uh,
OVW do their own personal vlogs, just like at NWA Carneyland?
we'll try to, yes. I've got to just try to organize the talent. Wrestlers are notoriously lazy, and you have to really push them and motivate them to do things for their own benefit. So, if it's not working out or eating, then you've got it's a struggle.
If you could share a secret, sir, like what could you advise or like motivate a pro wrestler to expand on just social media or just like or make the most out of social media nowadays?
I would I try every day to motivate them to do that. You guys have a wonderful advantage in social media that we didn't have years ago. Um, we were totally reliant on the promoters and their platform, which was television. But you have a tool in your own hands to market yourselves and to make yourselves an attraction. And I can't emphasize this enough that it is your responsibility. It is your job to make yourself a star. Promoters do not make you a star. Vince McMahon does not make you a star. Vince McMahon provides you a platform that makes it the easiest for you to be a star and presents you like you're a star. But you ultimately make yourself a star. And you have to market yourself, and you have to promote yourself, and you have to sell your product, which is you, ultimately at the end of the day. And the more successful you are at that, the more you create something that a promoter then is interested in and can exploit and capitalize on, and you both make money together. That's how the wrestling business, that's how entertainment works. People do not make you stars. You make yourself a star, but you have to have the passion. And that's what really drives the wrestling business is passion. And if you don't have the passion, don't fool yourself. Don't make excuses. Don't make justifications. Don't point the finger at other people. Point it at yourself. Especially these days now, because you have so much at your fingertips that you can utilize. Look at what the Young Bucks did as a prime example. They did that on their own. They didn't rely on a promoter. They promoted themselves, and you can do so as well. Just be aware of that.
And thank you so much for that, sir. Like coming from you nowadays, just like that's like the push we need, especially on the replay. I'll just force my fellow workers here in Southeast Asia, here in the Philippines, to rewatch this. And this is super helpful. That was a learning tree moment for me personally, and my tag amigo Jake Dilian, who's helping us moderate the fan comments. That's we are super grateful for that. And speaking of making yourself a star, maybe ask when was the light bulb moment that made you that made you decide to be a wrestling trainer?
Um, there was no real moment, you know, per se. I had a wrestling school years ago before I made it to WWE. I made the decision that I was going to start to run my own operations and I was going to start promoting my own shows, and therefore I needed my own talent. So that was really the motivation for why I opened up a wrestling school and started training people, was because I wanted to start running shows on a regular basis. And there was one light bulb moment where I met a guy in Dayton, Ohio, years ago. He had been out to train with Vern Gagne. He had all the tools. He looked the part. He told me all the money he had spent, and he had the time he had spent out there. But when he moved out there, he didn't have a place to stay. He didn't have anything. And when I first opened up my wrestling school, I decided I was going to try to make it an all-inclusive, meaning that if, say, for instance, you came from the Philippines, you would need to find some place to live. So I found a facility where I could create dorm rooms within the wrestling school, separate sleeping quarters, and a kitchen facility. And I had a lounge, like a living room area where you could watch wrestling tapes. At the time, they were VHS tapes. And then that was all outside of the school. The school itself was like an auditorium that I could run shows in. I had a weight room, so you could train as well. So you could come from anywhere in the world to the United States, and then you could relocate and live there at the training facility while you were being trained comfortably. And I did really well. I trained a lot of people from all over the world, different parts of the globe that came there for many years. And then my responsibilities became too much with WWE at the time, or WWF at the time. I was working for WWF. I went back to them, and I just was too busy, couldn't give my full attention, and I sold the wrestling school and just pursued wrestling full time.
So this was around 2002, 2003?
Might have been before that, I'm not sure. Might have been earlier than that. But then a few years, I was with WWE for several, I was with WWF, and then I left and went to ECW, and then I came back to WWE and was there for several more years. And then John Laurinaitis, who had replaced Jim Ross, came and asked me if I would be interested in being the head trainer with the developmental program. And so I agreed, and I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, and that was my first association with OVW. In about the mid-2000s, I think, somewhere in there, I moved down and began to train the developmental talent with OVW until WWE severed the relationship with OVW and myself. A period of time after that, I began working with Impact Wrestling and as a producer, and then I created the developmental system for Impact Wrestling and created the association with OVW again with Danny Davis. At that time, that lasted for a couple of years, and I worked as an in-office executive, as the executive director of senior executive director of talent relations and television, and was the head of the developmental territory in OVW. And then the Impact severed the relationship with OVW, and then several years later, I came back and bought the company and now own it and operate it, and have been here ever since. So
full circle, if
yeah,
you will.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. And like shifting to a fan question in regards to just maybe just evolving in general. From at PW the Good Doctor, what was the mindset you had to keep evolving?
There's no real mindset. It's, you just, for one, if you're the same person at 25 that you were at 18, something's wrong. You need to grow. You need to develop. And if you're the same person at 50 that you were at 25, that's a sad situation. You should always be growing and always be evolving. And the same goes with wrestling. You're always growing, you're always evolving, and you're always thinking, and you're always, the number one rule of wrestling is to take shit and make shoe polish. No matter what the situation is, there's always a solution. You just have to ask yourself the right questions. And as far as, right now where I'm at, I saw a need in regards to training. Unfortunately, around the world, there's a proliferation of wrestling training schools, and that have no business doing it. When I broke in years ago, people that trained you were held accountable for who they brought into the business. If someone was brought in and they did poorly, or they did anything that disrupted or hurt attendance, you, the person who trained them, were held accountable. So you weren't very, very likely to want to open your doors wide and just train anybody that walked through. But unfortunately, that's changed. Now, all it takes is for people to just simply have the money, and they can pay somebody to train them. And there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who believe that because they've watched it for years and that they are a fan of something, that it's easy to do, and that it doesn't really require any actual training nor any actual physical training to do it. And nothing could be further from the truth. They're with all forms, in professional wrestling, everybody believes it's fake. And the only thing that's fake about professional wrestling and it's the only thing that's ever been fake, the only thing that's not been real, is simply the finish. The fact that we know who's going to win and who's going to lose. What we fake is we fake the intent behind what we're doing. Now, what we're doing is quite real. All the holds, all of the submissions, all of that. Professional wrestling actually was the precursor to MMA. Catch wrestling, submission wrestling, is basically what we're doing in professional wrestling. We're trying to be a prize fighter who goes out there and tries to defeat the other person to get paid. That's what we're really selling, is that idea. And that concept's been lost. Nobody is taught that anymore. Everyone is taught just simply, here's how you land safely, here's how you take a few bumps, here's a back bump, here's a front bump or a forward bump, flip bump, and here's how you hit the ropes, which a lot of people hit wrong. They don't do it right. And here's some high spots, and here's a couple holds, and you're a professional wrestler. And nothing could be further from the truth. There's every form of combat has its own timing, distance, and footwork, which you need to be taught and develop to do it safely and correctly. You need to be in proper physical condition to be able to do it, not only out of respect for yourself, but respect for your opponent and respect for your audience. These people, the biggest insult you can do in professional wrestling is to show up at a show poorly trained or not trained, and make it a waste of time, money, and effort for that audience to have paid to see you. Nothing could be worse, because unfortunately, shit rolls uphill in professional wrestling. So your poor attitude and your poor performance and your lack of passion and your lack of professionalism will now reflect on all of us, and it's hurting professional wrestling. We live in a time right now where there's more physical ability, more athletic ability in professional wrestling there ever has been, ever in the history of wrestling. The athletes are incredible. The physical ability is amazing. But the wrestling business is more on its ass than it's ever been. And the reason when I say that is because there are fewer places for young people like yourself to make a living in it. And the reason there are so few places to make a living in it is because none of you care. You all perform for each other. You don't perform for the audience. And I can prove it. When I first broke into professional wrestling, the only question I ever heard asked, ever by a wrestler, ever heard asked, for probably 13, 14 years, was, what's the house? Meaning, how many people are in attendance? Mm-hmm. That question's never asked anymore. Ever. No one asks it. Now, you all ask each other, hey, did you see my match? What did you think? Was it good? Here's what you all do now. You all sit in the locker room. You all try to perform this stupid formulatic approach of the 7 steps of doom, which I know them well, and I can take you through why they don't work. They don't. But you're insistent because that's what you were taught, because everybody can teach it. They don't have to explain the real art of storytelling. They just teach you this stupid formula, and you go out and you perform it, and it never draws money. But you think you had a great match. So you sit in the back, and you go and talk to your opponent, and you work out every single detail, every spot, every move. I'm going to punch you 3 times, and I need you to turn to the left. You are so intent on covering every possible detail. You then leave each other, and you go mentally and in your mind rehearse it, and you visualize it occurring. And you rehearse it over and over in your mind. Then you get back together. You go back over it one more time. You kind of refine it, maybe change a few things, make sure you're both on the same page. And then you go apart again and you rehearse until it's time for you to go out. Now, when it's time for you to go out, you double check as you're standing there ready to go through the curtain. Let's make sure, let's not make a mistake. And you go in the ring and you perform. Here's the problem. 1, you're not interacting or reacting with each other, the referee, or the audience at all. While you're doing spot A, you're trying to remember spot B. You're so concerned about making a mistake for one reason, because you're afraid that someone will notice that you made a mistake, and the only people that can notice that you made a mistake, quite honestly, are the other wrestlers. No one in the audience will have any idea that you screwed up, unless you make it evident. Mm-hmm. So, who are you really performing for? You're really performing for each other. You don't care how many people are in that audience, because you feel before you left the house that you were entitled to a certain amount of money. That isn't the way that the wrestling business or entertainment works. You are entitled to money based upon how many people will show up to see you. That's what gives you your value. But you're too worried about impressing each other than impressing the audience, so therefore you're just going to get the few that show up anyways. No one really draws, but you still feel that you're entitled to be paid, and you're not. That's not the way it's structured. That's not the way it works. I'm sorry. Now, I've seen and read posts on Facebook and social media where people go, "Oh, you're a professional, so you're entitled to get paid." No, you're not. If you're a professional, you will earn what you get paid. Simple as that. This isn't a job. This is a business relationship between you and the promoter. You create a product. You create a product that the promoter can promote, and that together you two capitalize on it by drawing an audience to witness it. That is how you make money. Not I'm entitled to, because you're not. Even after 38 years, I'm not entitled to anything. I'm not entitled to respect. I'm not entitled to a spot on the card. I'm not entitled to a certain amount of money. I get a certain amount of money because I know, thanks to the exposure I've had over the years, that there are a certain number of people anywhere in this globe, on the planet. Anywhere I go, there are a certain percentage of people in that particular area that will know my name and will now potentially buy a ticket to see me. That's why I am entitled to a certain amount of money, because I have gained a certain amount of exposure. Hence why we're having this conversation, because I have a certain name value. That's why you wanted to interview me. Not because I'm fascinating or entertaining or anything else, but because I have a certain name that will draw a certain audience. That's as simple as it gets. And for all of you out there, please try to endeavor as young athletes to make yourself a name. Stop performing for each other. Stop trying to impress the wrestlers in the back, because I got a little news for you. They're not watching you. The other wrestlers aren't watching your match. They say they do. They don't. You know how I know? Because they're busy calling their match trying to impress you. And you weren't watching any of theirs, now were you?
We were too
No.
busy with our own heads to rehearse.
Correct. It's okay for you to plan things and to call things. Don't believe the stories. Even old timers did those sorts of things. It's okay. But the difference between them and you is they called a couple things, and if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. They didn't care. No one else knew. In 38 years, I can honestly tell you, of wrestling literally all over the entire world, okay? No, not one time, not once in 38 years have I had anyone pass out a script of my match to the audience. Never. So the audience never knew what I was going to do or why I was going to do it. So I could do anything. I could make mistakes and no one would know. Hell, even half the time, if somebody watched in the back, they didn't realize I made a mistake. They didn't realize I missed a spot or I didn't do one. You were too worried about each other and not enough about the very people who are investing their time and money and effort to pay to see you. And that's a shame. And that, kids, is why you have fewer places to actually make a living doing the thing you want to do. Is because wrestling business, at the end of the day, make no mistake, the wrestling business is your business. It's not the fans. It's not the writers. It's not the promoters. It's yours. And you are making it the way it is. Social media is not the problem. You're the problem. Your use of social media is the problem. People have known for decades that wrestling is predetermined. But we are selling them the idea, the belief that it's not, that the wins and losses have consequence to them. You exposing everything you do, basically, like a magician, sawing a woman in half, standing on stage, holding the saw in your hand, and as you're doing it mid-stroke, looking back at the audience, laughing, going, hey, don't worry, there's another chick down here at the bottom with her feet out, and the other chicks up here, they're fine. I'm not touching either one of them with the saw blade. The more you do that, the harder it becomes for you to try to emotionally get these people to invest and buy a ticket to see you. And the harder it is to get them to buy a ticket, the fewer places you have to do the thing you claim you love to do. You all want to be in WWE. All of you. Understand, you're only in WWE for one reason, two reasons. You're either the thing that sells tickets or you're one of the things that help sell tickets. There is no third option. You all see the trucks. You all see the semis behind the buildings, the arenas. Ask yourself the next time, how much did it cost to rent that arena for the night? The permits to operate that show, the taxes. How much does it cost for all of those tractor trailers, the upkeep, the maintenance, the insurance, the diesel, the guy that drives them? How much does it cost for everything that's carried in those things? All the setup. How much does it cost for all the people that have to, the crews that have to set all that staging up and the lighting and the ring and the barriers and the pads? Ask yourself, how much does it cost for that lighting crew, for those lights, for that sound crew, for the sound system, for the cameras, for the camera crew, for the production, etc.? How much does it cost for all the airline tickets for the talent? Did you ever think about that? No, of course you don't. How do you think they pay for all of that? Because you had a great match and the wrestlers behind the back and the backstage were impressed? Or do you think it's because enough people wanted to tune in next week or show up at a building and pay to see you? And that's how they were able to pay for all of that. And the pressure is always on for you to do it. You're only as good as the last time you wrestled. Your name, literally every single week, comes up around the table. And if it doesn't make it around the table, you're released. Simple as that. So, you want to be in WWE. Okay. You're willing to live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with that pressure and that stress of knowing that at any second, for any reason, your career up there can come to an end. Okay. Good luck.
Like, first thing comes to mind, sir. Thank you for a sponge moment. Like, legit, this to anyone in the live right now who hasn't experienced a wrestling seminar.
It's not a seminar. It's not a seminar.
Yes, sir. Yes,
This is
sir.
advice.
Mhm.
You know why it's advice? Because if you're smart enough, I don't need to tell you. And if you're dumb enough, you ain't going to listen anyways. You all swear, you all tell each other and you tell yourselves that the wrestling business has changed, that it's different, that it's no longer a circle. You've now reinvented it. It's now a hexagonal or octagonal. It's not. He's just old school. He's just old school. It's changed. Meaning when you say it, that you think an audience pays just to see your athleticism and your moves. Am I right? You really believe that, don't you? You don't think that they care whether you win or lose. They don't buy the wins or losses anymore. They don't believe in the referee's authority. None of that. And if that's true, if what you say you really believe, then answer me 4 questions. Okay? If what you say is true, that actually wrestling has changed, it's no longer about selling the concept or the idea that you're trying to win and not lose. You're not out there doing that, okay? If what you say is true, then why am I paying for commentators to sit at ringside and sit there and talk about your match as if it's a real sporting event? Yeah. Now, number 2, if what you say is true, why am I paying for a referee to be in the ring that you totally ignore anyways? You stay out on the floor longer than a 10 count. You're out there for anywhere for 30 or 40 seconds. So what's the point of having the referee in the ring in the first place? And you yourself said that no one buys a ticket to believe in that we're actually out there trying to win and lose anyway. So why should I bother having them out there to count the three? Because if I'm just old school, I'm wasting my money. Question 3. Why am I spending thousands of dollars to buy a championship belt that you supposedly are going to work your way up the ranks to win? If the wins and losses, if it's not about winning and losing. Because the only reason that you have a title is to add more consequence to the win and loss. It's just a prop. That's all it is. So why waste the money? Why have a ranking system? Why do any of this? Question 4. If what you say is true, you really believe it, and I know you do. And I know everyone out there listening does too. And you think I'm wrong. So why is it do you get upset and you get the boo-boo face when I ask you to lose? Because you yourself said that they don't believe or care or they don't buy a ticket about it's not about trying to create this competitive situation. But you will swear to me that I am burying you because I asked you to lose. You can't be half pregnant, guys. Can't be half pregnant. Either it is or it isn't. Okay? So make up your mind. Either it's Mortal Kombat video game where you kill somebody and then they just come back the next game, or people win and lose. Just like boxing or MMA, and the wins and losses have consequences to them. It's no different.
It's supposed to be like that, but sadly,
You all make it otherwise. 1, because you're not being taught, and 2, because you think it is different, and it ain't. People really genuinely know and have known for a very, very long time that wrestling is predetermined. But thousands of people all over the world have continued to pay to see it for one reason. Because the people that were inside the ring could allow the audience to believe. It's no different than magic. If there's anybody that's watching this or listening to this at some point in time think that magic is real, you're out of your goddamn mind. Magicians do not defy the laws of physics, nor do they defy gravity. Okay? And that ultimately is what they can't alter reality. They can't. But they can do it so well that you can be entertained. And that's the same with professional wrestling. Everybody knows that you're not out there, you know who's going to win before you go out there, but they want to believe, because the only consequence to anything you physically do to each other is that one of you might beat the other person. But you're so caught up in trying to perform for each other that you completely ignore the referee. You completely take away any authority he has. So therefore, there are no heels, there are no baby faces, or in literary terms, there's no antagonist and there's no protagonist. And without an antagonist and a protagonist, you can't tell a story. You guys don't tell stories, period. You just do a bunch of random shit based on a formulatic approach of step 1, shine, step 2, heat spot, step 3, get the heat, step 4. What a waste of time. You guys could do so much. All of those magical moments that you remember when you were a fan, you could create for an audience, but you won't, because you're so caught up in trying to impress each other or a fan who's going to write a report about you. Someone that thinks they have some kind of knowledge about the wrestling business and can formulate a critic, basically. Basically, a critic is a legless man that tries to tell everybody else how to run. and you're trying to impress a critic, and you're trying to impress each other. But the rest of the audience, who cares? It's too bad. And it's sad because it's your business. And you all could have a incredible opportunity to do what you love to do and make a living at it. Now, granted, at times you're going to make more money than you will at other times, but you'll always be able to make a living. But the way you're doing things, that'll never be the case. You'll either have to work for WWE or no one. So.
Understood, sir. Oh, my tag team partner earlier said it best. I'm just blubbering right now, but the word is speechless. I don't know how to react to this, but I am legit. I'm like turning red right now. It's because of the lighting too. But like, I'm speechless. I'm honored. I am just mind blown, Sir Al.
You guys have all the talent. You guys have you have everything, and you can do it. I can tell you, if you guys want it bad enough, if you want anything bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And that's the God's honest truth. You guys can do it. You know, the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. You have to give people what they want. You have to let them be entertained. They're buying a ticket because they want to believe. They want to believe in you, and they want to believe in why you're doing it. Those are the only two things they want to believe in. They'll never believe in what you do. Okay? They never will. But if they believe in who you are and why you do it, you'll be successful. You know, and I'm not saying you'll be rich, but you'll start to be a draw. And then guess what's going to happen? Other promoters in other areas are going to start to take notice because they're going to see that you're starting to do something. You're starting to draw an audience. And then they're going to want to use you to draw an audience for them. And then you're going to get opportunities for other people in other places. And then pretty soon, at some point, because, again, how much does it cost for those tractor trailers? How much does it cost for that arena? Vince McMahon is going to have an interest in you because he can see that you can do the one thing that he needs done, and that's draw money. Not just have a great wrestling match. You can have a great wrestling match, but if nobody pays to see it, who cares?
Just thank you. That's the word. Top of my head right now. Just thank you, sir. Legit. Like I don't know how else to top that, but to be respectful of your time, let's
Sure.
shift gears a bit to the shoot your shot segment. That's a segment that I have for my guests in hashtag PWOG Live. Just a quick heads up, sir. Since IG Live has an hour limit, if ever this disappears, if you're still free to join, I'm gonna make a new live and simply rejoin the live again. Just a heads up, because it might magically.
I got about an hour, so.
All right, awesome, sir. It's just gonna be quick. I have like 6 photos, I think. So
Sure.
whenever you're ready, sir, let's do
I'm
it.
ready.
Alrighty, sir. So Al Snow, shoot your shot on this photo.
Oh, that's the new upcoming comic book that is coming out. I'm very excited about that, and I'm very flattered. There are a lot of very important artists, inkers, and artists, drawers, and writers that are working on this book. It's going to be a series, and I'm really thrilled. I'm very, very excited to have it out soon.
And are you like a comic book fan when you were younger? Like,
Oh yeah, I still read comic books. I've I've been a reader for years, both of comic books. I've read probably every classical piece of literature you're supposed to read, and then because of traveling so much on the road for all those years, didn't have anything else to do, so I'd read. And I still read comic books every week when they come out with new ones every week. So the comic books these days, I mean, are much more sophisticated. The writing's so much better. The character development, the depth and everything is so much better that I love them.
Yes, actually, that's super true. Like most of the movies right now, that's like the pop they get. They get it from the
Yeah.
comics and just show it on the big screen. Like, yo, but when you read it in the comics, it was supposed to happen anyway.
Yep.
All right, but thank you for sharing that, sir. And speaking of comics, shoot your shot on this photo. The
Oh,
Juggernaut.
the Juggernaut. Yeah, I
Yes,
took a
sir.
picture with the Juggernaut at one of the comic book conventions. I love going to comic book conventions because one, I get to meet all the fans, and two, I get to if I'm sitting behind the table and I see like a somebody go by in a cosplay outfit that's really cool. I'll run and take a picture with them because, I mean, the amount of time and the work that it takes to put into one of these things. I mean, it's amazing. Like I met a woman in England, or no, I met her in Scotland, and she had an outfit that she had spent like 2.5 years hand making. Just incredible the talent and the effort to make these outfits. So if I see one in a comic book convention, I'll run and take a picture with them immediately.
What has been your favorite, if I may ask? Like the most outrageous, or like something that hit your childhood? Like, yo, you're actually
There
doing a
was a
cosplay of this character.
Well, that was that one. The Juggernaut at the time. You don't see very many of those. You don't see very many Doctor Fate. That's a DC character. I saw a guy who was Doctor Fate one time, and then some boy. This guy, he made it's the from Del Toro's movie Pan's Labyrinth. He had a character with the eyes and the hands, and he had the wings, and it was incredible. It looked exactly like what was in the movie, But I've seen so many. I mean, I've seen some guys, some people come in Transformer outfits that they're on, the outfits and stilts, and they're, it's incredible the work and the time that they put into these things. Just amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all right, thank you for sharing that story. Next photo, shoot your shot on this one.
Oh, self-help. Basically, it's the book that I wrote, and it's about my career and the lessons that I've learned throughout that career. I wanted to title it "How to Take Shit and Make Shoe Polish and Other Lessons I've Learned from Wrestling," but the publisher wanted to call it self-help. So, I own all of my mistakes. I'm very honest. If you're buying a book to hear me talk trash about somebody, you're not going to find it in here. I point the finger more at myself than I do at anyone else. I've had a lot of interesting experiences in wrestling and met a lot of amazing people and have made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I try to own each and every one of them.
Awesome. And this is still available on Amazon.com, right? That's right, sir?
Yes, still available on Amazon.com. Yeah, and I tell a lot of funny stories in it. There's a story about 6 midgets and myself taking a car ride one night, and that was.
I know this from the Chris Van Vliet interview. But like, we're not gonna spoil anyone. We're not gonna. That's the spoiler. That's the. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, sir. Okay. Shoot. Next photo. Last 3 photos. Shoot your shot on this photo. Well, you were. I'm blocking you, but like just Dan Severn and you.
Dan Severn, yeah. I trained Dan Severn for UFC 4. Was Dan's first foray into the Ultimate Fighting. Back then, wasn't like it is now. Literally, it was a tournament. You fought 3 different people in one night. If you won the first fight, you fought a second. If you won the second, you fought a third. You didn't know who you were going to fight before you got there. You didn't know what style, because now, today, MMA has developed into its own style. Everybody has a ground game. Everybody has a stand-up game to some degree. Back then, like I remember Dan, the very first fight, he fought a Muay Thai guy. The second fight fought a long style karate, and then the third fight was Hoist Gracie with jiu-jitsu. So to know what to plan for or who to plan for, you couldn't do that, and you couldn't develop a game plan or a strategy for a particular opponent because you didn't know who you were going to face or what style they fought, because they were completely unique from one another. as opposed to now. So it was a lot more different back then. It was definitely a lot more different. I remember screaming at him through the fence when he was fighting Hoist Gracie and telling him not to take him off his feet, and you know,
That's what they want. That's what you want him to do.
I
He's a
wanted
Brazilian
him
too.
to, right. I wanted Dan to keep him up. I wanted him to keep him on his feet. And the next UFC, forget which one it was, but Chemo fought Hoist in the second round, and he kept Hoist on his feet the whole time. Like he wouldn't let him go to the ground, and he blew him up. He wore him out so bad that Hoist couldn't come out and fight. Hoist won the fight, but he could not come out and fight the final fight, the third fight. He couldn't do it. He was too worn out. So.
Oh man, it's like there we go. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say like how MMA was approached before, especially like how I'm lacking the terms right now, but like how badass it was supposed to set up, like you were able to mention. It actually reminded me of how when you watch pro wrestling, it doesn't. I don't like an expert, but like when I watch pro wrestling before, it looks like improv. It doesn't look like it's bro, like Dr.
Majority of
Close
it is. The majority of it was back then. So you just did things on a field. You talk to each other the whole time you're in the ring, and you're thinking and reacting and interacting. And if you notice the pro wrestling before, it looks or feels like a continuous struggle for each person to gain and maintain control. And now it's just light switch wrestling. You do yours, I'll do mine. You do yours, I'll do mine. You do yours, I'll do mine. And that's the essence that's been lost.
Yes. And
you guys could get back if you wanted.
Yes, sir. It's because of guys like you, if we may say. Not kissing your ass, sir, but like if someone keeps reminding us, someone keeps telling us,
nobody listens to me.
Yeah.
Not even my own students in OVW or at ASWA. They don't listen either.
Is it the super kicks and the spot fest? Yes, that's it, not even that. Oh man.
Everyone believes it's changed. Everyone believes it's changed.
That's we've already tackled that, sir, man. Thank you for sharing that story for Dad Severin. Last two photos, I promise. We got a few more minutes. Shoot your shot on this photo.
Oh, myself and Marty Jannetty. I was so lucky. Yeah, I was very lucky and very blessed to get to team with Marty. I tell everyone all the time that Marty is so underappreciated for just how really talented he is, and how he really was the backbone of the Rockers with him and Sean. Sean, of course, was better, was charismatic and was better backstage at politicking than Marty, and Marty was a little more self-destructive. But Marty was incredibly talented, was very, very good. And Sean wouldn't be where he was if it hadn't been for Marty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like Shawn Michaels is actually my childhood hero, but I did notice in his biopic or documentaries, and that like I noticed, of course, Marty Jannetty is the veteran, and since the AWA days, even way before, he was the one guiding him. It just so happened that I guess give it to the pretty boy.
Marty was his own worst enemy. That's all. Marty has his own demons and struggles with stuff, and Marty makes his own problems. So,
but still, they're still groundbreaking, talented. Ahead of their times. Or they were. Wasn't for them. There's no Hardys. There's no Young Bucks or whoever tag team that kind of resonates. Anything that's modern, quote unquote, right now. But yes, sir. Thank you again for that. And last photo, Al Snow, shoot your shot on this photo. House Party 1998. ECW.
Oh yeah,
against ECW.
Roadkill. That was where I got the chance to reinvent myself and thanks to the grace of God and a plastic head, get myself over. And I had a great run. I have no complaints. I had a blast. I just wish I had taken more advantage of the opportunities that I had at the time instead of not, and sometimes I didn't see those opportunities the way I should have seen them. So, nobody was pointing them out, nobody was showing me, and nobody, and that's the thing, is that you've got to be aware on your own, because no one's going to stand there and hold your hand. They're not going to, direct you or tell you what to do. Once you're in that spot, you've got to know what to do and make those right decisions to capitalize on those opportunities as much as possible. So.
And on that note, we thank you so much, Mr. Al Snow, for joining hashtag PWOG Live. I'm super honored. On behalf of Tagamigo Jake Dillon, who's doing the fan comments right now, moderating, thank you so much. We have a few minutes left.
If anybody wants to go and find more information on the training academy, they can go to aswa.live, or they can, if they want on OVW, they can go to ovwrestling.com. If they want to go to the streaming network, they can go to ovwrestling.com. They can sign up. It's only $4.99 a month. You can watch everything and anything you want. We have the Roku channel that is around the world, and we're on the YTA network nationally. And we're the only actually accredited trade school in the world by an actual government agency to train professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and broadcasting. So if anyone has an interest, we accept students internationally all the time. We have a dorm facility for people to live at, and we encourage you to pursue your dream.
And on that note, all the best. God bless, Mr. Snow. Please keep washing those hands for 20 seconds or 40 seconds. Keep social distancing. Just stay happy. Stay you. And I'm looking forward. I'm just super soon. You probably have a TED Talk. I'll watch that for sure. That's going to be on my to-watch list. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Take care.
Bye.
What's
up, fellas, ladies and gents, good morning now. We're just going to wrap up the hashtag PWOG Live Al Snow episode. That's why I'm making this second live. Hey, what's up, ES to the hub? What's up, Senorita JDL? What's up, brother? Pin comment. Rach _ Mendoza. Lance _ Manako. The Karlski is here. S to the, have you ever been fish took? What's that?
So, man,
Bro,
that was a great interview, and I know the emotions are running high right now. I know the emotions are running high. Like, can you tell me what you're feeling? Right now, because I was just moderating and I was feeling it right here. What's going through your mind?
I just want to address the fact that although I look like I got my ass chewed on the interview, that's not what was happening. That's not what was happening.
That was not what was happening at all.
Because I was being a sponge. That probably to what I said, just to correct myself as well, that those witnessing the interview earlier with Al Snow, if that was the closest thing to a wrestling seminar. He did say it's not a wrestling seminar because in a wrestling seminar you have to do the actual moves. Yeah. But part of it, it's something like that plus do the moves. So imagine for the people watching this, all those almost an hour worth or more depends on the veteran who's teaching the wrestling seminar. Plus apply them, then get a feedback from them. That's what we go through in a wrestling seminar. And I don't know if it's the light or I'm just red right now, and I'm
you're flush with emotion. You're flush with emotion, and it's amazing. And
you, bro, what you? What?
I can't believe we got this for free.
Right?
That was what I'm
like. That's what I want to say.
That was what I'm thinking. All this free advice, and I was just here listening and wondering. And he does have a point. He does have a point that there are a lot of aspects in wrestling that have changed, but it is us who is changing it right now. And there's still a lot in wrestling that is still the same. we still need to entertain people. We still need them to buy tickets. Like, we don't, like a lot of us is going through this. We don't look at the bigger picture, and he looks at the entire picture, which is not a lot, like, which is not what we teach a lot of ourselves right now. Because, like, I'll admit it, when I used to be the PWR trainer, I didn't really like look that wide also, and you know, maybe it's time for me to. I'm just trying to be a sponge like you. I'm just trying to open up my mind to all the possibilities, trying to see it from all the different angles, old school, new school, whatever school. That is how you learn. You don't close your mind. You keep it open so that you understand what is going on, what went on before, what is going on now, and how you apply it to yourself to become a better person. Because he put it himself the best. If you are the same person that you were at 18 and now, like, if you're the same person you are at 25 than when you were 18, that's not the way to go. That's not the way to grow. So Al Snow, that rhymed a lot. Thank you so much. I cannot thank him enough for coming on. And then, yo, I almost thought he wasn't gonna come on because like we were 25 minutes late, and thank God.
23,
thank God.
23. But hey, I don't. Hey, it's 4th of July yesterday, so you know, and we are just, you know, we are grateful that we even got him in the first place.
Exactly.
You know what's fucking crazy? He dissected the whole wrestling mentality for a show. That's what's fucking. That's what's freaking my head right now, bro. He dissected.
That's why I was just speechless. I was just speechless there. Like I know he's been talking about it for a while, but like this actually see it like in an IG live, in our IG live, that was like, oof,
if we were gonna stand out, let's just show that episode. An interview, an interview where the interviewer couldn't say shit, and it's not because because we don't have the questions. Well, I have a lot of questions. It's because we are actually listening to our guests.
Yeah.
Oh,
we listen, we learn. That's what PWOG Live is. We like he says, we can prepare for it, but what happens in our IG Live is like a wrestling match that he wants to happen. We're just reacting. We are listening, we're reacting, and that's how we go. That's how IG Live, that's how PWOG Live goes. Whew. I don't know what else to say. I'm just really happy, and yeah.
Yeah. What are words?
Can't thank everyone enough. As the good doctor said himself, listen, learn, apply. Thank you to Al Snow, and thank you also to Dr. Gore for joining us earlier. I know we changed our shirts just to make it seem like it was a different day, but you know, thank you also. We're still in the Sunday like doubleheader right now. So Ken, yeah, I can't thank you enough for getting Al Snow and like sharing all his thoughts with us. I can't thank the Carl enough for always being here, always recording our sessions. I can't thank all the fans of #PWG Live, all the amigos and amigas who are still with us right now. It's 12:30 in the morning. I have a 7 a.m. shift, so yeah.
We have to wrap it up.
We have to wrap it up, but I still have to say that this was like a very enlightening episode. I have to say that no matter what skill level you are in wrestling right now, I hope they watch this episode. I hope they learn something, and
rewatch
you
this
and me
episode.
moving forward. No. You and me moving forward, amigo. No one's gonna stop us except us. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Especially more than ever. And I just have to say hi
Now
to my
more than
older
ever.
sister, Karen, because she's gonna bash me again if I don't freaking acknowledge her. Did you see my niece earlier?
Karen.
She's like freaking 3 or 2. She was online at 11 p.m. Hey, kids, please watch the replay. Not
Please
the
go to
actual
sleep.
live. If it's
Please.
11 p.m. I'm just saying. My niece. And I have to say, from Dax, brother, my freaking grade school brother, and Mark Cuevas, El Cuevas. Hey, school. Hashtag, what's our name? What's her name? Chosen Ones, TCO.
Oh my.
Any stuff like that.
All right.
And yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah. That's what.
Let's head into Reflection Sunday,
Yeah,
amigo.
this is it. The fucking reflection from the.
I know.
Hashtag reflection.
Channel that energy.
Hashtag reflection.
Channel that energy.
Sunday. Wait, the PWG, the good doctor says, yeah, I gotta sleep now, but that kept me wide awake. Who wasn't awake? You're supposed to be freaking awake, aware, man. Freaking A.
Ashkia Chum,
What?
what's
I'm
up,
sorry,
brother?
I'm lagging. I think I'm lagging.
Oh man, okay, I'm gonna just proceed to the Hashtag
know.
Reflection Sunday. We have actually a lot of people still. Thank you for tuning in. Every single one of you guys. I apologize if I wasn't able to read your questions. Hell, I wasn't able to read some of my questions too. But that was a freaking episode to watch, to rewatch, and who will stay for us forever and ever, especially
Yep.
because of social
Yep.
media. Hashtag Reflection Sunday. I have no more
I'm lagging
segues.
badly.
I have no more segues.
I think I'm lagging badly.
We're gonna hear this regardless. For Hashtag Reflection Sunday, the attempt to
Alright.
combine wisdom and power has only rarely been successful, and then only for a short while. Albert Einstein.
All right. I didn't really catch any of that because I think I was lagging, but I'll take your Reflection Sunday word for it, amigo. I'll just look it back on the edits and then we'll get this out as soon as we can.
I didn't even understand it because I was so at a loss for words. I just read the damn thing.
All right.
And
We'll just.
thank
Yeah.
everyone. Fuck, dude. This is the ultimate rib. This is the ultimate rib, man. I am.
It's a rib. It's a rib. All right, Ken. It's late. You're full of emotions. You gotta channel that energy and then go with it. Good night. Take all of that good energy, take it home, like sleep on it, and then we'll do this again next week.
Hell yeah, brothers. The Carl, everyone's tuning in. Good doctor, thank you earlier. Mr. Al Snow, we are honored, legit honored. Everyone, hashtag PWOG Live. Enjoy your Monday. Have a great week ahead. Deuces.